If she died, that means she's evil. If she didn't die, that means she's evil too. So all these images were throughout all the societies, and we need to look at these things before Islam, and then we can fix it. And so basically, the women were not allowed to mix, like even in the family, they were not eating at the same table, drinking, going to social settings. Why is that? That's because they were considered as less than human beings. So as you can see, it's all very negative and pessimistic view of women, and there's a shaitan here at the bottom. So after Islam came, and what did Islam do? Well, first of all, when Islam came along, it wiped all the dust off the face of the woman. Where did this dust come from? They used to bury women before Islam came. Everyone used to bury them. So let's say a woman was pregnant and she was going to give birth. She was in labor. Where would she go? They would dig a hole, and then she would sit in front of it. If it's a boy, they would celebrate, and they would make food, have a party and everything. But if it's a girl, what do you think they used to do to it? They used to chuck her inside the hole while she was alive, while her mom and dad are staring at her, while she's crying. They used to cover her with sand, and then they used to scream, "Dad, Dad, why are you burying me?" And then they used to keep going until they killed the little baby. So that's called murder. Why did they do that? Why were they burying her? Because they considered women as less than men. They were not equals. And if a guy had a daughter, he'd be hiding. He didn't want to tell everyone. His face would turn black, and he'd be sad, and he'd be hiding. He wouldn't tell anyone he had a daughter. He'd hide in his own house for months and months, just so that he doesn't talk to people. And that was the stupidity and the thinking of people before Islam. And then when Islam came, brought them all out from the graves, removed all the oppression, and then moved forward. So if you think about it, who was the first person to enter Islam? Does anyone know the first person ever to enter Islam? Who was it? Anyone? Khadija. What's Khadija? Khadija is a woman. So the first person to enter Islam was a woman. And then the first one to sacrifice her life for Islam and to die for Islam was a woman. Does anyone know what's her name? Yeah, very good, mashallah. Sumayya. She sacrificed her life for Islam. And then the greatest scholar of Islam was Aisha radiallahu anha. So we have all these figures in front of us, examples. There's a lot more, but these are just some of them of women in Islam that we could use as role models. So when Islam, as I said, when Islam came along, they brought the woman all the way up to the top of the ladder. She was no longer less than a man, she was equal to it. And why is that? Because we're created from the same thing as what man's created from. We're not created from iron, fire, or magnesium. We're created from sand, from the soul of Adam. So if a man without that part is incomplete, and the woman without that other part is incomplete, we complement each other. Both men and women, they're equal, and both of them have different skills, but they're equal, and each single one of them can use their skills, but none of them are superior over the other. So if you look at society, so as a whole, women are actually the foundation of the society. And let's say you want to build a building. What do you build first of all? Who's it, engineering here? You build the foundation of a building. And if the foundation is rubbish, because the building will collapse, and it will be so quickly just ready for anything, and it will collapse. So as a woman, you're the foundation of a family, the foundation of society. So if that foundation not built strongly, everything collapses. Everything. So as a sister, as a mother, as a wife, all of them, we have a role to play. So Allah actually spoke of women as a noble person in the Quran. So do you know Surah Maryam? So Okay, that's good. So Surah Maryam in the Quran, who knows Surah Maryam? Surah Maryam talks about Maryam, and she's given as an example of a role model to behave. Allah gave us examples. Allah gave us Surah Maryam, talks about the Lady Maryam, and how we could follow her and use her as a role model. And Prophet Musa, the mother of Prophet Musa, what did she do? Do you know what did she do? She was very kind and loving to her. And the last one is the wife of Pharaoh. You all know Pharaoh? Yeah, although this is quite very a while back, it's a very relevant example to what's happening right now. Because the wife of Pharaoh was kafir. His wife was what? Muslim. How she sacrificed everything she had. She was married, he was wealthy, living all of that for what? Just so she can live closer to Allah. And right now, this is the same example as a Muslim woman here, you're living in a society which is what? Non-Muslim. So these struggles are very close to the wife of Pharaoh, and her name was Asya. So you might want to say, okay, how does Islam respect women? Are you sure? We always hear about it, oppression, bad media, all that. Give me evidence. How does it respect women? If you've read the Quran, you'll find out there's a surah, a full surah on women. There isn't a surah about men in the Quran, is there? No, there isn't. So this surah is called yeah, that one's got a lot of different stories. But this Surah An-Nisa specifically talks about Nisa and every single problem that you will face in life. Although it was written a while back, Quran, it's still these problems that are written there. We face them right now. Every single one of us in here, they face this problem or will face them in the future. So Allah gives examples of how to work with these and how we should treat women. In the Quran, in that surah, this is what you should do. You should be patient when they talk. You should be listening to them. And it doesn't mean I'm a man, I'm better, I'm always right. I don't have to listen to the woman. So the creation of women on its own, how does Islam respect women? The way it was created, that's how it was a miracle. How Eve was created was a miracle. So as it says here, she wasn't created from fire or iron, it was from Adam. So men and women are equal to each other. And in the Quran, after I said they used to bury in the olden times they used to bury the kid when they were younger. سئلت بأي ذنب قتلت. What surah is that? Does anyone know what surah? So, the surah that says وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ قُتِلَتْ. No, it's a small surah. Shams Kuwirat, yeah, Surah Al-Takwir. And that's basically Allah's asking them on the Day of Judgment for all those people, because they have to get punishment. All those people that used to bury their kids, Allah will ask them on the Day of Judgment, all the parents, they will stand there and then Allah will ask them, why did you do that? So they will be judged by Allah, not just by any random person. They will be judged by Allah. Why did you do that? How could you kill your own daughter while she was alive? You must be so heartless to do these things. You must not have a heart. How could you do that? So Allah will ask them on the Day of Judgment, how did you do that? Dhanb means what? Sin. What did they do? Why did you do them? They're only a child. They didn't do anything. And the last example is about Umar ibn Khattab. We all know Umar as a Khalifa. So I'll tell you an example about Umar ibn Khattab, and when there was a lady that came across when he was in the street, and she started arguing with him. She was an old lady, and Umar at that time he was a Khalifa and a well-known figure, and actually a wee bit feared figure. So people were scared from him, even men were scared from him. So how did she manage to approach him? And she said, you know what, Umar, you used to be called Umayr. In Arabic, Umayr is like the small, less than calling someone Umar. It's very similar, but she said, you know what, you used to be called Umayr, and now you think you're Umar, you have to fear Allah. And then she started giving him a very long lecture, talking to him about doing this, doing that, and why are you doing this, and why are you doing that. And then And then his friends, Umar ibn Khattab friends, they said, come on, you're taking so long of his time. He needs to go. Why are you taking so long? What did Umar say? Umar ibn Khattab. Do you know what he said? He said, even if she stood there day and night talking and lecturing me, I wouldn't go unless it was an urgent matter. That's because Allah from 7 skies is listening to her. Why should I not listen to her? How could I not listen to her? Am I better than Allah? Allah's listening to her. How could I not? So that's Umar ibn Khattab, Khalifa, well-known figure, and he was listening to her. And she, at the end of it, she was arguing. She was telling him, "Oh, by the way, you're wrong. You don't know. This is not the right way. You know, when someone gets married, this is how much money you should give and everything." And she accused him he's wrong. Normally, as a man, you'd be like, "What? You don't know what you're talking about. I'm always right. You're wrong." And even in this situation, when he was in front of his friends, you don't want to be let down. So he didn't say, "Oh, you're wrong. I'm right." No, he, as a Khalifa, admitted his mistake, and he said, أخطأ عمر وصابت المرأة. So أخطأ عمر is Umar was mistaken. He admitted it himself. So there's nothing wrong with admitting a mistake. So if we look at what we've been talking about so far as women in Islam. So as a woman in Islam, how did it develop? First of all, women were thought of as a burden, sad, ashamed, very, like all the bad thoughts that's come into your mind that were associated. But then when Islam came, Allah said, having a daughter, or 3 daughters actually, this is in Hadith, having 3 daughters could get you into Jannah. It's one way to get into Jannah. And then one guy jumped and said, what if I only have 2? He said, yeah, that's 2. And another one jumped and said, what if I only have 1? Could I enter Jannah? He said, yeah. But it doesn't mean you just have a daughter, that's I enter Jannah, ta-ra, I don't need to do anything. No. Yeah, you have a daughter, you must respect her, give her everything she needs, give her time, everything that obviously respect, love, time, everything, and then you will enter Jannah. So if you look at that from the scale of being a burden to being the path to Jannah, so what did Islam do? Just brought her all the way from down to actually being a role model at the top of the ladder, being at the top as the daughter. So Allah actually took care of a woman before she was born. How? By saying this, you can enter Jannah if you have a daughter, and then as a wife, and then as a mother. And as I said, on the Day of Judgment, Allah will be defending these girls that were buried. And to have Allah defending you as a child, that's a big thing. Sorry. So the Prophet Muhammad when he was in his last moments, when he was dying, he would a wee bit go unconscious, and then a bit he would come back, and then he would wake up for a bit and become conscious. And every time he went, the only thing he could like come back for a few minutes, and then he would start saying, my wasiyah is like a wish. You know, when someone dies, you say, oh, take care of my children, take care of my flat, take care of my bank account, take care of my whatever, take care of something. That's what you say. So what did the Prophet say? He said, take care of your women, look after them. And he didn't say it once. Every time he came back, he would mention that. So for the Prophet, and while he's dying and being such a great person, he told us to take care of women. So what does Islam, what's the view of Islam towards women? Oppression, what is it? Oppression, hatred, is it? No, that was before Islam. When Islam came, it looked at women as respect, love, and you have to be patient. Listen to them, and they will listen to you. So this is just a diagram of what I've been talking about. So when she was born, she was the way into Jannah. And as a mother, if you have children, and if those children, so obviously it's a path into Jannah. As a child, as a mother, as a wife, all of these things. And that's how great Islam is by bringing women all the way up. And maybe some of you might not believe this because we live in such a society that we as Muslims may not be aware of, oh, this is what Islam actually, because of this, although we might have the knowledge, living in a society where they tarnish the image of women, Muslim women, it's very hard. You start getting affected and you start believing yourself. You start believing, oh, maybe Islam wasn't so good with Muslim women. Maybe that's true, but it's not. Like the majority of people here in the West, the majority of them, the view they get is from newspaper, Facebook, 2 minutes there, 2 minutes there to form an opinion. That's it. No research, no nothing. But if we look at the history of women, it's phenomenal. Like no woman in any other religion, the way she's been respected, treated, and everything. So we should keep up that image. There's no point in saying, oh, that was our history. That's it. That's history. You have to keep it up. So. So what are the, like, we've been talking about women before Islam, women during Islam, and then women right now. As a Muslim woman living here in the West, in a non-Muslim country, although you might have family with you, friends, but you are living in a non-Muslim country. So how could I keep up that image of, I've just told you about the history of women in Islam, before Islam, how are you going to keep up that image? Well, you can look at the opportunities that are in the West. So first of all, by coming here, before you do anything, you need to know about the culture. Very different. Even within ourselves, within Muslim cultures together, there's big differences. So when you come here, you need to know about that culture to be able to adapt. Because if you don't know about that culture, then you'll be confused, lost, everything, you don't know what to do. So you need to find out, and obviously take only the good parts. Not just come here, take all the bad parts and then go back. That's not how it's meant to be. So before you come, you learn about all the different cultures, how everything. Even finding about what they think of women, that's good. You just find out, but not to the extent that you let it affect yourself, and you start changing your views about yourself. You just find out what this thinks, how this goes. So, like, we've got opportunities here that are in many countries you don't get. For example, France. You're not allowed to wear a scarf. You choose, you wear a scarf or you go to uni. Here you can wear a scarf, you can go to uni, you can go to work, no one's going to stop you. And other countries, there's a lot of countries, even Muslim countries, France, Syria, you wear a scarf in the street, you will be attacked and imprisoned. So these kind of countries, France can't wear a scarf, some other countries they ban the scarf, so here we are allowed to express ourselves and use this as a symbol of our Islam. And the other thing is about education. So that's one of the opportunities here. I'm sure most of you come here to do your PhD, masters, and stuff like that. So that's really useful to develop you as a person. But that on its own is not that doesn't actually develop you as a person. You need to have a purpose. Okay, I wake up in the morning, go to work, eat, sleep. Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep. That's cycle, boring. You need to have a reason why you're doing this, why you're going to work. Are you happy? Is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? Wake up, go to sleep, work. Wake up, go to sleep, work. That's very boring. So you need to have a purpose in life. Purpose, like, I've come here, I want to do my PhD, and I want to change this about myself or about other people. Because otherwise you're just living, you're being programmed like a robot. You're just following a computer program. And you'll be just like the millions of other people, but that's not what you want. Because you have the power. You have the power and the abilities to make a change. So why do you not use it? As I've given you a lot of examples of Muslim women who've been leaders, like Aisha, Sumaya, Khansa was the first woman to sacrifice her life. So leaders, they've been at the front line, not just backseaters. They've been at the front line, making decisions, doing everything. So us women, we have the power to be that because we've done it before. Why can't we do it now? And then the praying facilities. Most of you can pray at university when there's praying facilities nearly like everywhere. Maybe not school, but university there are places, and even in work. If you ask, you will get there. But if you're scared and you're like, oh, I feel shy, I'm working here, all those white people scary, I can't ask, I feel so embarrassed, I want to go and ask them, I need to pray. And then make my wudu in the toilet. They think I'm a stupid psychopath or something. What am I going to do in the toilet, washing my feet? So if you don't believe here, you have to believe what you're doing is right. If you don't believe it, no one's going to believe it. No one's going to take you seriously if you don't actually be yourself. You have to believe what you're doing. I'm doing the right thing. This scarf that I'm putting, I'm doing the right thing. You have to be proud of what you're doing. Not just doing it and waiting for the moment to hide and being scared every minute for anything, for any attack or anything, being scared. Don't, because that way you're not being a Muslim woman. Muslim women are out there telling people, this is my scarf, this is my belief, and this is why I do it. So I'll give you an example of it. I'm sure some of you might have found difficulties at work or uni to practice your Islam, for finding a place to work, asking your supervisor, doesn't give you a break, or doesn't, whatever, they must, sometimes you have. But I'll give you an example. When I was at uni, third year I had the final exams, 3-hour exam, but the 3-hour exam passes on to Asr. So if I stayed that, and it was around December time, so I would miss Asr if I stayed in the class, and I only found it out, like, because I was studying, I only found it out 2 days before my exams, and it was all scheduled, everything was meant to be in the main hall of the sports centre, and then I thought, oh my god, I can't miss Asr. I felt so bad. Either I go ask them for permission, or I miss Asr and I just do my exam. But my conscience, I couldn't do both of them, so I emailed my supervisor and said, by the way, can I get a room to pray? And I thought he's gonna go mad, he's gonna go crazy. I'm asking for another place the day before the exam, and this is a big exam. He's gonna go crazy. He didn't. He just sent me an email and he gave me a room that I could pray in, totally different from everywhere else. A single room that I can sit in, sit my final exams, a 3-hour exam, and I got up, and that exam was the worst subject in my entire. It was the hardest subject. I can't remember the name. That's how bad it was. But it was the worst subject, physical something, but it was very hard, and I actually hated that subject, and I thought I'm going to fail it anyway. But I thought, if I don't pray, then maybe Allah will not help me succeed to do it. So I asked for that room, and I thought 3 hours, maybe pray 5 minutes, no big deal. But while doing it, the shaitan came to me and said, oh my god, you stupid, you're wasting 5 minutes, it's vital. You could have answered 3 questions by now. You could have done 3 questions. You've wasted it, you're going to fail. But obviously while I'm doing it, but after it, although as I said it's my worst subject, I got the top mark in my other subjects. That was my top, and I didn't ever get higher than that in my entire 4 years at uni. I didn't get higher than that mark, never. And I walked out, and I thought, I got a really high mark that I thought, wow, where did that come from? I didn't even prepare for that exam that well. But subhanAllah, when you walk in the path of Allah, then Allah makes everything easy for you. You don't need to go and fight for it. It comes to you. Because you're doing in the right way and your right intentions, and everything will come to you. That's just a personal example. So I'm saying, as at work, it's not that easy to, I'm not going to say make it sound like, oh, this is going to be so easy to be confident, to ask for a praying. It's not that easy. Especially if you're surrounded by everyone, doesn't wear a scarf, non-Muslim, parties out all night, and you're intimidated. What am I going to do? How can I ask for a place to pray? They don't understand me. They don't know why I'm praying. They think, oh, she's crazy. Why is she praying? So ancient. Why does she wear this scarf? It's so crazy. Why is she doing that? So you feel a wee bit scared at the beginning. You don't want to ask to get a place to pray. You don't want to ask. You'll get put in situations that are very hard, very difficult. But And also speaking from personal experience, if you're confident in what you're doing, even if you're in such you have a very bad boss, supervisor, a very bad company, all of them are, I don't know what share are playing. So all of them, even your co-workers, everyone, so non-Muslim, how could they understand you? Even that, if you're confident that I am doing the right thing and I'm going to pray, I don't care what you're going to say, I'm going to find a place to pray. Even if you don't give me a room, I'm going to pray right here in front of the stairs, and I'm going to do it. I don't care what you're going to do. Last time we used to pray in the library, Strathclyde Library, and obviously we got in trouble after because it was in between the fire exits, but there was no other way that we could pray, because by the time we reached class, we would miss it. So we decided each one between the long lines of the bookshelves. So each one of us, we took one. So the 10, everyone was coming to look for a book, and we were just praying. They were like, okay, they're taking so long. At the first, it felt like, oh, someone could think we're crazy. We weren't confident at the beginning, and then as we started doing it, we really, wallah, we did not care who came across or who came to take a book and then looked, oh my god, what are they doing? Like, we didn't care, we just did it. Because we knew if we miss a prayer, what's going to happen? Because you're not trying to please people. Who are you trying to please? Allah. And when you actually try to please people, you'll fail epically. You won't please anyone. Because you can't please it. You can't please everyone. So just be proud of who you are. Be yourself. You don't need to try and fit in, because of it, like, let's say first time you come here or you go to uni, this first time you start your PhD and masters, you don't know who you're gonna be with, the office workers, you don't know. And you might say, okay, I'm gonna try and fit in. Yeah, I'm gonna try and fit in. Maybe that's easier. So you take off your scarf, I'm gonna try and fit in. But guess what? See, in this society especially, they don't respect people who give up their values for others. So even if you have whatever value, whatever, let's say scarf, and you stick to it, and you believe in it, they really respect people who stick up for what they believe in. So even at work, lots of time people used to come up to me and ask, oh, in the hospital, why do you wear a scarf? Every single day she used to ask me, do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe? So when you become open to questions, you should actually, because how do you expect them to learn if you're like, oh my god, she's coming, I'm not going to answer her, she's coming, I'm not going to answer her about my scarf. How do you expect them? They're going to go on YouTube and find, guess what, Islam, all the bad media. So this is your chance. Whenever you see a non-Muslim, it's your chance to speak to them. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Just explain. It's not hard. That's the least you can do, and it's actually a duty. It's not a favor. It's a duty. Because if you don't speak to them face to face, they'll go YouTube, Facebook. Oh my God, terrorist! Oh my God, terrorist! They will find out all the bad media, and then you thought, okay. And then you wonder, oh, why did I think of that? Because you didn't take that opportunity to explain it yourself. Am I going too fast? Should I go slow down? Should I? So one of the things, like, you can get involved here as a Muslim woman might think, well, there's nothing. I wear a scarf. Some people ask me to come to this party or this. What can I do? There's nothing to do for a Muslim woman here. Yes, there is a lot of things to do if you go out and look for them. And if you actually want to, you'll find anything. You need to actually want to do it. You can't just sit there and think, oh my God, everything's just going to come to me and I'll just sit here all day sleep and everything will come to me. You don't do that. You don't sit at home and expect to pass your PhD, do you? Your supervisor will kill you if you do that. You can't just sit at home and expect everything to happen. So you need to go out there and do this, getting opportunities, doing volunteering, starting projects as women, like leading projects. Why can't we do that? Like, and before women did it, they used to. Aisha, she was the greatest scholar of Islam. Aisha, woman, she was the greatest scholar. Khansa, she led an army. So why can't we lead a project, make decisions, instead of going at the back and letting all the men do everything and then we do nothing? We're just as powerful. We have the skills, or even we're more powerful, to be honest. Because Allah supported us with these ideas, and the Prophet. Why did he say take care of women? Because he knows they've got potentials. They've got potentials to bring Islam all the way up, to bring it back, to change the images that was in the times of Jahiliyyah. They have the power to do that. Okay, sorry for all the funny faces. So the misconceptions in the West. What do they think? So why do I really care what they think? Well, yeah, sometimes you want to know what other people think of you. Yeah, so yeah, you might be surprised, or you're already aware of what they think. So one of them, the minute they see a woman, and I'll just start off actually, forgot something. Like, this is the average person in the West. The minute they see a woman, or a Muslim guy, it doesn't have to just a Muslim person, there's a list of things, oh, calm down, before they even said hi or bye, before you even opened your mouth, there's a list of things that comes, and that's the average person. Where do they get these ideas from? Media, newspaper, The Sun, whatever. I'm not being biased. Any other newspaper, Facebook, YouTube, anything. That's media. They just go there and they find stuff about it. That's the average person. Only very small minority actually sit down and research what is Islam. They know the truth. These people that will spend time, there isn't that many. So are we going to wait until that minority becomes a majority? You'll be here for millions and trillions of years. You can't. You have to change that misconception. No one's going to change it because it's talking about us. It's not talking about a random person. We have to change that misconception. So oppressed. The minute they see a woman, and this is true. This I've come from statistics and surveys. What do you think of a Muslim woman? Stupid, boring. They can't talk. They're not human beings, and that's why when they see them talking, oh my God, they actually talk. They actually laugh. Well, I thought they don't talk. And that's all the things that come into their head first marriage. Oh, maybe terrorist. Oh, what's she hiding under her scarf? Machine gun, AK-47. What was she hiding under her scarf? Oh, you can't fit that. But yeah, basically, this is what they think the minute they see a woman. And then next, I don't know if some of you maybe have experienced this while here. You could ask, what do you think of me wearing a scarf? But I will tell you this is what they think, because I have asked. When they see someone, and they're educated people, they're not any random person, they're like a person that doesn't go to school. Educated people like lecturers at uni or friends at uni. Oh, she might be bald, that's why she's wearing a scarf. She might have cancer, or she's forced. So someone stands outside the door of the house before she leaves, puts a scarf on her and fits it inside. That's the ideas that they think of Muslim women, and you have to be aware that no matter how confident you are, you just have to be aware of what they think. And no matter, even if you live here for 50, 100 years, you lived here as a Muslim woman, these misconceptions will always exist unless we change them. They will always exist. They will always think of that things, and it's just getting worse. These misconceptions, they're getting worse and worse, and so what do we do about them? We change ourselves, and we become more interactive with them by talking to them. Because by just saying, oh my God, they think we're there, we're not going to talk to them. No, you need to tell them, this is not who we are. So let's say at work, you have to be ready if someone comes up to you and says, may say some of them are rude, just asking you to be annoying, but some of them are not. So you explain to them, don't say, that's because my religion says so. No, scarf was before Islam. Yeah? Did you know that scarf was before Islam? Islam didn't bring scarf. It's an act of modesty. You just wear it to cover yourself as an act of modesty. So someone asked me at school and at uni, why do you wear a scarf? All you need to do is explain it. And you have the chance to explain to that single world person, even if you told the right answer to one person out of millions, how do you know that person will not change? So you don't have to tell hundreds of people, just one person is enough to pass the message. You just need one person out of 100 to get your point. So while you're at work, you're doing da'wah. You're at school, you're doing da'wah. With your scarf, walking down the street with your scarf, without you realizing that, this scarf on your head, you're representing a nation. You're representing Islam. You're not just representing yourself. So automatically in the public eye, everything you do, and I've noticed it, everything you do, they won't say, oh, that's what she did. No, they will go, this is Islam, what I told her. So if you throw a banana skin in the street or in the subway, you act randomly, you jump into the door while it's closing, this is what Islam told them. Or you act strangely on a train or in a lift, smoking and stuff like that. People think this is Islam. They don't think people are different, like this is their habits. They don't. So they'll blame it all on Islam. And then this is how you get the misconception. It's by strange behaviours from certain people who cover up all of it. Although it's unfair, obviously that's unfair. It's not our fault if one person didn't decide to close the door or hold the door for the next person, or shouting so that the whole street will hear them. Or they live at the top and they're talking to the person in their car and throwing sandwiches or their packed lunch or whatever. I'm sure none of you do that, but doing these strange acts, it will all come back to, this is what Islam taught you, to do these random things. So stereotyping exists everywhere. It's not just here. In Muslim countries, stereotyping, Arab countries, Asia, everywhere. But how do you get rid of it? How do you get rid of this stereotyping? How do you stop people from, the minute they see a Muslim, and it will keep continuing, even if you develop as a person, you become a better person, you understand yourself, you go to work, okay, you apply to a job. Before you open your mouth, well, automatically, because I've asked her, before you, automatically they'll think, oh my god, she's so scary, how are you going to work with her? How are you going to go out and socialize? She's so scary, oh my god. What, all these things, they come into their mind, so the minute you open your mouth, it's a chance to be like, whoa, we didn't know that. And then obviously they'll get impressed and take you off. But it shouldn't take to that level, because sometimes you won't get to that stage, you know what I mean? You won't get to that stage. So it's unfair, some people getting caught. And that means you need to try and change these views about Muslim women. By changing the views of what they think of Muslim women, you're giving them a chance to do more things. Because the minute they see it, or even in the street, I'm just not talking about in the street or in a shop, they just see it. Why are we talking about Muslim women? Why don't we talk about guys? You know why? Because we wear a scarf. We're more likely to stand out. A guy, it could be a Sikh, maybe he's got a beard, or a Muslim, it could be, or a Jew. It could be anything. But as a Muslim woman, they can tell you're a Muslim. You stand out from all of the crowd. On the train, you don't only hijabi. On work, you don't only hijabi. At school, you stand out. So automatically, there's questions in their head. Automatically. And when you stand out, you know what you're doing automatically, you're doing a da'wah. Even if you don't open your mouth, this is da'wah. You're wearing that scarf, walking down the street, so proud of yourself, because you believe you're doing the right thing. So you don't give in to anyone, just because even if let's say you try to fit in. I'm going to try to fit in, maybe it's going to be easier for me. No, it won't. Trust me, it won't be easier for you if you try to forget about your values and forget about the things that you believe in just so that people accept you. They won't accept you. They will never accept you if you do not believe in, like, if you don't stand up for what you believe. If you stand up for it, you could have Muslims. They become maybe your non-Muslim friends. You start spreading the word on them. So just the final advice is to be yourself, respectful and reasonable. As I said, obviously you're going to walk and be proud of who you are, but that doesn't mean you're mourning and you go, oh my god, how did this happen to me? I've got a scarf and on the bus and stuff. I thought everyone is, no, that's not reasonable. With your scarf, going on a bus on your own at 3 o'clock in the morning and expecting nothing to happen to you. That's stupid. That's not reasonable. So you have to be aware of certain things that you can't do, and you're asking for trouble. You need to try and avoid these things, not as if, like, stick to the norms. Even because when you wear a scarf, automatically you might get someone, because of their views, might attack you. So by going in there at 3 o'clock, that's just stupid. So, but as I was saying, so if you're wearing the scarf, Allah will be with you. You've got your scarf and everything. You might not think a lot of it, to be honest. You just wore it from a young age and never actually thought about, why do I wear it? And see, that's the wrong thing. You actually need to think, because the more you think about what you're doing, the more you think about it, then you actually start believing it, and you start thinking, oh, this is actually something I can be proud of. Just like you might be proud of, oh, I've got a massive house, oh, I've got a really nice car, oh, I've got an excellent job, I passed my PhD first time, no correction. Scarf is also something to be proud of. But how can you be proud of if you don't even know what it means? You don't even know why you're wearing it. You need to know why you're wearing it, and what got you to that stage. And if you're wearing it, and you might say, oh, like 99% of people, they're not Muslim, they don't have, even in my when I was in class, but 300 people, only 2 people wearing hijab. But if you're with Allah, by wearing a scarf, you're with Allah, then nothing can harm you. Forget about bullying, discrimination, it won't happen if you're with Allah. Is there any questions so far? Yes.
This is just my personal opinion regarding perception of other people to us as a woman,
Yeah.
especially we as a Muslim woman. I think that I'm not worried about what a non-Muslim perception to us, because they are non-Muslim.
Mm.
What I'm a bit, not a bit, big worried is that how Muslim men treat Muslim women. That is what I worry the most. I don't mind if non-Muslim men don't respect me, which I don't find that Asian Scottish men, they respect me as a Muslim woman.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid that there is lots of Muslim men here in Scotland, specifically in Glasgow. I think they don't respect Muslim women much.
They're Muslim.
What Scottish men do. This is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
For example, Dr. Tariq Ramadan, in his one of his book, he's saying that the place for women to perform prayer is not enough. The place for them to pray is very small and very dark, and they don't get enough facility as what Muslim men does.
Yeah.
So I think we as a Muslim women first, we must make them understand how to respect their Muslim women. Muslim men has to know how to respect Muslim women first before we want to do that for non-Muslim.
Yeah, this is talking about in general, to be honest. This is in general talking about Muslim women in the Jahiliyyah before, and right now when Islam came, this is how you should be treating, because this is Islam how we should. But I think what happens is culture gets mixed in with Islam, not just here. A lot of countries, people start thinking that culture is Islam, so due to their bad habits or whatever from their parents, they start doing certain things, and then they put it down to Islam, but it's not.
So how you want to explain to the non-Muslim that this is not Islamic practice, this is a Muslim practice wrongdoing?
They have to explain to the non-Muslims that this is...
And how to make Muslim men respect more?
Well, by giving, by giving them examples of how women were treated and by the Prophet. You're not better than the Prophet. If Umar ibn Khattab, he stood and listened to that old lady who didn't even know, who are you? Are you better than Umar ibn Khattab that you don't listen?
Definitely we have to use the word.
Oh no. Yeah. So basically these examples are not just for non-Muslims, it's for everyone, because it's a mutual respect. You start, because this is what, if the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he respected women, and by respecting each other, as I said, the creation of man and woman, that was a miracle from Allah, that He created them that they could complement each other. So by respecting each other, and this is the point, I don't know if actually I've mentioned about here, when you're living here as a family, these things. So if you look at the society right now, a lot of problems going on. Do you want to know why it's going on? Do you want to fix all those problems in all those countries? Look inside your house. Look at the family. Because the foundation of it, who is it? The mother, the wife, the daughter. They are the foundation of that house. Yeah? And if you manage to build your family with strong foundation, strong from an early stage, you're preventing yourself from a lot of harm later on. Because bringing up a family here is much harder than in other countries. What we'll talk about first of all, as you said, Muslim men and Muslim women respecting each other. So then you need to remember, because sometimes it happens, I would just want to get my idea across and that's it. I am doing this and I am going to do this. Then the clashes happen all the time. To be honest, problems happen all the time. You can't stop them, you can't prevent them, but you can avoid them from the beginning by understanding each other. So by understanding each other and remembering that, because I think we forget a lot of things, that the mother and the father, husband and wife, they actually play a major role in society. What they do in the house, they could be building a generation or destroying a generation by their own actions. So you have a massive responsibility as a mother, massive responsibility. You're bringing people not to the house, to the world. So you better bring them properly, because the world doesn't want people like that if you don't know how to bring up a children. And if together as a wife and husband, if you're not working together properly, then the family will break. Because as I said, the foundation of a building at the bottom, if it's not a good foundation, building falls off. As a family, if the mother not happy, daughter not happy, wife not happy, crashes actually. And then you want to build, you want to do this and build that, go to the moon. How can you? How can you if inside your own house is an earthquake, a volcano going on? An earthquake to what Richter? I don't know, to varying Richters, earthquakes. You need to try and address these things inside the house, as a family, as a wife, as a husband, trying to understand each other, and then the children will be able to flourish. Because if they can see all of these things going on, they'll be very fragile children. They're very fragile, and you're responsible for them. They're already in a fragile environment here in this society. So if you don't bring them up properly, then they go outside, they see a totally different value, totally different. Like our values as Muslims are different from non-Muslims. And if you don't have time, because most of the times you're arguing or whatever, you don't have time to sit with the children, they will go outside, learn whatever they want to learn from school, and then they'll come at you and be like, oh my god, how did this happen after 16 years? Is that actually my child? Did I do this? Yes, you did. You put yourself in that position by not giving them your time. This is not good enough. Oh, I bought them an iPad. I did my part. I gave him a car when he turned. He didn't. That's nothing. Time means a lot. Giving each other time, giving the children time, sitting with them, talking to them. That's all you need. That's all you need to flourish a family. And if the family is good, you're improving the society. Does that answer your question? I went off point a wee bit. Any more questions? Anyone? Any more questions? This is your time. I won't ask you again.
What do you think of female leaders become head of a nation, like
president? You mean as a
prime minister?
What do I think of, or
what do you think of it?
Great. Obviously, if you have the skills and you have the backup, then why not? But there's different levels. You need to be prepared. You need to have the skills. Sometimes you might think, oh, I just want to do it just so I can get my husband gutted and tell him, oh, look what I got, I became a leader. No, we do it if you're skilled, and then why not? There's a lot of women. Who knows what women in Islam, they were leaders. Let's see if you were paying attention, because I did mention it. Which woman was a leader in Islam? She led an army. No one? Astaghfirullah. Who was it? Yeah, Khansa, Lady Khansa. She was a leader of an army. I said, whoa, yeah, she did lead an army. An army of troops. So you can be a leader if you have the skills and opportunities. Why can't you be? Because women in Islam, examples of Maryam, what did Maryam say, Lady Maryam do? She was in a mosque helping clean the mosque and do so. The different roles as a leader, as a decision maker, change your everything. Women can be everything. If you have the skills and if you believe in yourself, and if Allah is with you and you think you're doing the right thing, then you can do anything. Nothing is impossible. Anything you can think of, you just ask for Allah. Ask Allah for help, and He will guide you. Any more questions? Okay. So what challenges, we went through opportunities, so what challenges do we face in the West? Shall we start off by you guys? Any challenge you faced, or do you think there are challenges in the West, or so far your time here, or any challenges? Anyone? Any challenges for women, especially women here in the West? What do you think? Well, the first thing is wearing a scarf. That is the biggest challenge, wearing a scarf. And you will be discriminated against because not everyone wears a scarf. You might not be aware of it, but that's because you might not think it's a big issue, which is good. If you're proud of who you are, if you're confident, then you won't be aware of it. But some people, not everyone, some people might be very conscious. Oh, I'm wearing I don't know how I feel scared to go into school with it, feel scared going to uni. Like your confidence will go really down, that you won't be interacting with other people, you won't be progressing in your work because you're not confident. So this is just one of them. But to be honest, it's not that common. It's just things that you might be aware. It's not that common discrimination to be. It's just a misconception. They don't actually come across to you, and so there are minor cases, but not a lot. And to be honest, it's all due to the media, all of it, and ignorance, lack of education for children in schools. Even Muslims, not just non-Muslims, even Muslims, they have these misconceptions, and I'll blame the schools and I'll blame the house. Schools, they have a part to educate the children, and your house. As a family, you should be educating your children. So if neither of them are doing what they're meant to be doing, then the whole world is just a big massive mess. And the second thing is finding halal food. Is that hard or easy?
In the UK, I think it's fine.
It's fine? Yeah, but anyone can come across like, first maybe when you first come, or you don't know where to find halal food, or you don't know if it's I think there is, but I've got like friends from uni 2 years ago, when they were looking for halal food. They didn't eat meat for 1 year because they didn't know where there is halal food, and then I told them there is halal food. So does that mean everyone who comes are going to wait for 1 year, maybe 5 years, and then they discover there's a shop there who sells? There needs to be groups, there needs to be societies to help people that come here. Because if we don't help them, Shaitan will help them. Very easy. The other way is easier. The Shaitan way, easy. I'll go to that shop, buy that food, eat it, and that's it. So there needs to be groups for new people that come here. Groups to tell them where they can get, for example, not just halal food, a lot of things, where they can get halal food, where they can pray. I had a friend for 2 years, she did not know where to pray. She thought, oh, there's mosques. People don't know there's mosques in the UK. They may think, oh, it's just a kafir country, non-Muslims, they don't know there's Muslims here. So you need to tell them about halal food, that there's mosques, there's unis. They need to prepare them, because if they're not prepared, then you're losing people. When they come here, you lose them. Obviously it depends on your belief. Some people who come here, their iman, their deen gets better. Some people, they come here, scarf abaya, finish, skinny jeans, no scarf. What happened? That's one person gone. Totally gone. And we were all to blame for it, because we could have saved them. And that's not just around. I've seen it happen to someone that happened to. It does happen, because they come and there's lots of shayateen. Shayateen is a plural of shaitan. Why shaitan? So there's lots of shayateen. There's lots of fitna. So you just need to be prepared for yourself. It's being selfish if you know everything and I'm not going to tell anyone where's the halal food. I'm not going to tell anyone where to pray. That's selfish. So just to cover the point, it's just I think we need to start working as make groups of women who help women who come from abroad. Guide tours, but for more permanent time, not just for a day. And I think the third thing, actually the most important, is bringing up the family. That's more important than the scarf. I mean, as a challenge, to be honest, I don't think the scarf should be put here. I don't think that's a challenge. Wrong slide, yeah. So bringing up a family is the most important thing here. Like bringing up a family here is 10 times harder than bringing up a family in another Muslim country. For obvious reasons, obviously. There might be bad habits in non-Muslim countries. In every country there is bad habits. They will pick up everywhere. But in Muslim countries, you hear the adhan, you hear all of these things. Everyone wears a scarf. But here, it's a bit more difficult. So bringing up these family kids, and they go to school, and their friends gives them all the haram food. What are you gonna do? You can't see them. They'll eat it. Or everyone wearing miniskirts at school. Mom, why are you making me wear along? One day all of these conflicts. There's a lot of problems, and you need to address them. And I think that's the most important. It should have been the title, bringing up family. Because if the family is brought up properly, you put all you can, the guy puts all they can, then you flourish. Family, you bring up children who are going to be useful in society, rather than just bringing up random children, useless, nothing. You only make more damage to the world by just bringing them, and then you think, okay, I'm going to teach them Quran, I'm going to teach them up to they reach the age of 5, they learn Quran, they reach 16, drug dealers, alcoholics, junkies, gangsters, all walking about in the street. I've seen that it does happen so often that it's so sad. The mother, they're not aware this is going to happen if you don't give your time. So it's all good enough, I want to get a good job, but if you spend 23 hours of your day job getting all of that, and you don't even give 10 minutes to them, talking to them, how was school, how was work, how was uni, did you face anything? Talking doesn't have to be just sitting there teaching them, giving a 2-hour lecture to them. No, giving them your time and finding it. Trust me, after it you'll see the rewards. But if you don't, then it will be very hurtful at the end. It will be a sad ending, because you need to be prepared for it. And the last thing covered is communicating at work. This could be a challenge to some people, because obviously at work, Muslim and non-Muslim, you mix with other people at work. So let's say you go to an interview, people don't know, some people do, but most don't know that you can't shake hands. Shake hands with, for example, a guy. As a lady, you won't shake hands. So some people don't know that, and they will stick their hands out. So you, deep down, you believe that you can't do it, but what are you gonna do? You're scared. You don't feel confident. What excuse are you gonna make up? I've got the cold. Okay, you got the cold every time. How many times do you have the cold? Okay, I've got the flu next week. You can't. It does happen. I'm sure it's happened to some of you.
So how you face it?
How do you?
If people want to shake hands with you, how you face?
What do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah, good question. I'm calling to what do you do? Because it does happen a lot of times in the bank, at work. They shake hands, and then you first of all, the first time it happens to you, you obviously you're gonna be a bit confused, a bit lost, a bit scared, embarrassed. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna pull my hand, but I know deep down this is wrong, or I'm gonna shake hands, and then after it, you regret it. And next time you will do it, and you'll do it, although you believe it's wrong. You can't face telling them. I'll tell you what I did. Maybe, or maybe not. As an example, okay, at school or at uni, and at an award ceremony at university. So some of them, my friend, she asked me once. She said, I've got the flu. When we had an interview for the pre-registration pharmacist, and she told them she's got a flu, and she started coughing for 5 minutes. And then what happened? She actually started coughing for longer because she was pretending to cough, but she kept coughing, and it got worse. But the first time it happened, I found it difficult. But I won't say it's easy to just say no. I'm not shaking your hand. It's not easy. It's hard because causes pressure there. And it's even worse when you're at a very important meeting or an interview. So I think the best thing is to prepare. Before you even go, you need to talk. Okay, what do I do if this happens? Not talk to you. You know what I mean? So what do I do if this happens? Well, the first thing is I think that the easiest way, there is good points to it and maybe some bad, but the easiest, the best, well not the easiest, the best, is just say it outright. Because you can't keep lying, making up stories. My fingernail's too long, it might pierce through your skin and cut you. Or you can't make up stuff every time. Oh God, you can't. If you keep doing that, you start like thinking, oh, what am I? How am I? Why am I keep lying? You start doubting yourself. Why do I keep doing that? So by saying outright, I was it in the bank here? He stuck his hand. I was like, oh, good morning, blah blah. And I was like, I don't shake hands. That's what I said. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. And once when there was a panel interview, 10 people, and all of them scary, lead the clinicals and whatever in hospital. And I was prepared before I went because it once happened at the school, so I thought this is gonna happen again. So I need to be sure what am I gonna do. But sometimes you forget and you go against your plan. So you need to be ready before. Make yourself strong, confident. See, when you're confident, you can do anything. But when you get scared and stuff, you get led away very easily. So you have to be confident before you come in. This is what I'm gonna do. So went into the interview, 10 people panel meeting. And I was like, good morning, and 3 of them they stuck their hand. I was like, what should I quickly? I thought, what should I do? What should I do? Do I have the cold? I don't look like the flu. No. What do I do? What do I do? Although I knew before I went, I knew I'm not going to shake hands. I'm not going to do it. But he had it out there for a very long time while I was thinking. I was like, come on, think. And I told him, sorry, I do not shake hands. And he was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, I don't. And he was like, oh, that's. I said sorry. And he said, don't apologize. It's okay. So when you respect yourself, you'll be respected. Because they know that you have values. No matter what they are, people here respect people who've got values. So you stick to your values and you'll get respected. So does that answer your question? Any more questions? No. Am I boring you? Yeah?
How about sports?
How much?
Sports.
Sports? What about sports?
Sports or like being involved in sports.
Yeah, if women can be involved in sports.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes
Mixed sports.
no, sometimes the costume, the attire.
Ah, okay. So
Also,
doing
swimming.
sports, obviously not mixed. But mixed, you can't do it. But if you go to this, to be honest, it's hard. There isn't that many out here. But there's new ones that are coming up that just take females only, and trainers that are only females, and you can wear what you want because it's separate. There's nothing wrong with doing sports. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, teach your children 2 things. Who knows what they are? Swimming, one of them. What's the other one? Yeah, sorry, 3 things. Swimming, archery, horse riding. So you teach. You don't have to do all of them, but it's recommended if you want to do a sport. So doing sports, the Prophet himself they used to play around with his companions. They used to joke. I know sometimes we're portrayed as like sad, oppressed. Oh, we just never laugh. We just read the Quran with it. No, the Prophet used to laugh. He used to make jokes. He used to hoover the house. Forgot to talk about that. He used to hoover the house, and he said the best of his people is the person who serves his family. That's the best person. He, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, used to hoover. So there's nothing wrong with doing things. Whatever way you want to do it is divided. But that's an example. And he used to do sports. Run around, play with have sports with the Khalifas and the companions. they're normal people, so I'm sure we can, as women, we can do it as long as it's in the reasonable limits and not mixed. Obviously not outside, because you feel more comfortable indoors by doing this in netball, basketball, karate. So, does that answer the question or no?
Sometimes I found I've been to one place in Wales where there's a horse riding,
Yeah.
and then we're not allowed to ride on the horse because of the scarf. Because we need to put on a special cap, protective helmet for that, and then we're not allowed because of this.
Is that here or in Malaysia? No, I mean, is it in the UK or Malaysia? Okay. Well, that is not your fault. Obviously, you've got a scarf and you want to do horse riding, but there's many other things you can do, or you can buy a horse and it's not very cheap, I know, but you can buy a horse and go around the house.
Sometimes you see like
What's that?
for safety purposes. Sometimes
How is that? Sorry?
for the safety.
Yeah, for the safety. Yeah.
Because like in the operation theater, we need to cover ourselves until here.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the hospital,
Yeah.
it's not so it's
Yeah, you're right.
and then they will argue in terms of sterility of the.
Very good point, because I was in the hospital when I started first. My supervisor said, by the way, I had long sleeves, and he said, by the way, you need to pull them up. And I pretended I wasn't. I pretended I wasn't him. What he said, and then we arrived at the ward, and he said, I think we should do it. Like, we've arrived at the ward. He thought I'm stupid. I can't see. I know we've arrived, but I ignored him, and I just didn't. For 2 years that I worked there, I never put. But obviously, when you're in theatre, is that what you're talking about? When you're in theatre, but I'm sure you can wear the things, the ones that go from here, the elbow to here.
How do you deal with that with the authorities?
With the authority, you tell them your belief, and you explain it very explicitly. Because if you're scared, they might think, oh, you're backward. Then it won't help. The more transparent and the more clear you are, it will happen. For example, some companies, actually, I can't remember which one, but they don't let you work with a scarf, or not actually a long scarf. Yeah, for health and safety reasons for some. Yeah, so long scarf you can't wear it for health and safety reasons. But if you put your point across and you say, I am doing this because I believe this, and I'm going to do this. Whatever you want to do, do it. You can sack me. You can. They love it when you're honest. If you make up stuff while you're doing a certain thing, then that's when it's not good, because you're making up stuff. So just be as honest as you are while you're doing it, because it does happen. I remember when in hospital work, it does happen a lot of times. Any more questions?
Is there any specific NGO for Muslim women in the UK?
Specifically?
NGO,
NGO?
non-government
Alright.
organization in
For women?
the UK for Muslim women to advocate their voice, to express their.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know of any, but I know.
That one,
Sorry? Yeah, this is what we're currently doing, is hoping to start up a new organisation for females only. And why some men might think, oh, this is racist. Why are we not involved? And it's been unfair on them to go. But there's a lot of charities for men. So, and if you look at all the charities, put a list and see, most of the leaders are men. So why can't women be leaders of the charity? Because at the end of the day, you're going to deliver something or give something. You need women in that group. So that's what we're doing. Actually, me myself, we're trying to set up an organisation that is led by women. We won't let a man lead. So whoever's going to be the chair has to be a woman. We will eventually take some members that are men. That's not being racist. It's just the way it is. You have to give opportunities, because I've come across a lot of women. They want to help. They say, how do I help? I want to help, but there is nothing for me. And it's a shame. This is how you reduce. You've got potential, like the potential energy. You have a potential energy. You don't use it. There's no point. You have to use that energy that you have. And if you don't use it in a good way, guess what? Shaitan comes, okay, I will, fine, you don't want me to join a charity, there's no space for me there. They'll go to the other path, easier path, where the shaitan comes to you and I say, I might as well spend my energy there. So yes, there will be charities that are led by women, that make decisions and decide everything.
Actually, there is a NGO led by Malaysian woman named Musawa. Musawa. But then this charity is female oriented, and they are quite not adhere to Islamic way of life. The leader is a bit.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Okay,
so I think we need something. We need some NGO that can function.
Yeah.
The function can be.
Perfect question, because there is one that's coming up in the next few weeks, and if you want to get involved in it, then this is your chance, because sometimes you find it very hard. Okay, I'm a Muslim woman, behave in certain ways. There isn't many opportunities, but there is, and there will be. This one coming up is already started. So if you want to help in whatever way you want, then you have to start. All you need to do is find out, ask, find out. Nothing will come to you easy. All the good stuff, you need to go and find them. So I'll just summarize by saying the challenges that I've talked about, they're actually opportunities, they're not challenges. So wearing a scarf, that's not a challenge, I think it's an opportunity. Opportunity for you, because otherwise, let's say I didn't have a scarf when I was at work. No one would ask me, but I got asked so many times about Jesus, about the Prophet, everything. Every single day she kept asking me about Islam. Because you're symbolizing Islam with wearing a scarf. And don't be afraid to talk. To explain what you're doing. You're fasting, yeah? Ramadan comes, you're fasting. You're not going to the cafeteria. You're sitting grumpy, sitting in the corner, cursing all those people eating. So explain why you, well, not cursing, well, you're angry sitting there. Why are these people eating and me sitting in the corner? And they might think, oh, she's just self-inflicting pain on herself. She is a crazy woman or a guy. Yeah, you have to explain why you're doing it. You have to be open, but sometimes a lot of times, we're too scared to speak out. We're too scared to explain what we're doing. We don't want to talk about why we're wearing a scarf. We don't want to talk about why we're fasting. We just want to keep it all. I don't know why, but I think we should try and explain what we do. And stand up for your rights, because if you don't stand up for them, no one's going to stand up for you. Put in a scarf, just like people's choice to remove the scarf, put in a scarf is also your choice. So if you don't stand up for that and explain why you're doing it, then no one will stand up for you. I think we've already covered the women in the West. It's not easy living in the West. As a woman, you might find it like on a daily basis, okay, it's fine, but if you actually sit down and think about it, there are a lot of challenges, but maybe you've overcome them and you understand them, or maybe you've ignored them. But there are challenges and there are ways that we can overcome them. So stand up for what you believe in and don't give in. Do we give in when we see a shaitan or whatever? Do we give in? Should we give in? It's much easier to give in, isn't it? Why shouldn't we? Let's just give in. Why should I go through all that hassle? Because it's worth it. That's why, because it's worth it. And at the end of the day, you know deep down that you're doing the right thing. And as I said, compare if Allah's with you or the shaitan is with you. The shaitan is with you, nothing good will happen. You might think you're doing the right thing, but you're not. So, as a woman, we should be passengers or at the front line. What should we be? Passengers? The driver. Yeah, we should be drivers. Yeah? Drivers, that's what we should be. Because we can be. Why should we waste that energy and let someone else do the job? Because you have the chance to make a change, actually more than a guy, because as I said, the foundation of a family is not the guy, the woman, because she does everything and can get to people more easily, can affect people more. So we can do da'wah everywhere, in the school, at uni, and everything. And we need to try and get involved. So if anyone wants to get involved, as Sister was saying, is there something just for women? Because there isn't. I personally don't think there is. A lot of charities that led by maybe 7 guys and then 1 female, just so that to comply with the policy of discrimination, they'll stick just one on. This is a halal way. It's not as if you're going out being part of a clubbing community or whatever. This is the halal way, getting into charities, getting volunteering, or even just groups, learning about your deen, learning about your difficulties. Any more questions? Actually, that's it. Does anyone have any questions regarding what we talked about, or anything, to be honest, even if I haven't talked about it? So anything you want to raise, the floor is yours. You can start now. Don't all jump at once. Any questions?
I was asked a question like, I'll tell you a scenario. I'll tell you a scenario like a group of people, like a Muslim group, contains like female and male Muslim. Like we are in the classroom, group with Western people, just white people, and non-Muslim people. And sometimes when they ask us to go like party with them, and then some of the female friends, female, they're wearing hijabs, but it's kind of something.
Defeats the purpose.
Yeah. So they want to join, but if you go to the party, like to go to the bar with a hijab, it gives perception keeps like to people. So it gives perception to people, but this
depends what kind of party they're going to. Obviously, if it's a mixed one, and that's what I'm saying, by making opportunities for actually ladies to go to, by when you make the opportunities, then there is no need for them to go to mixed parties. Is that your question?
So it depends on the purpose of that party.
What's that, sorry?
Is it depends on the purpose of that party, or?
No, obviously, because it's gonna involve alcohol or whatnot. And let's say you go, and to be honest, when I was at work, you get asked these things. Let's say you go and there is alcohol and everything. You say, I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna drink alcohol. So the first time you go, and you say, of course I'm not going to do anything haram. I'm just gonna sit there and be a Muslim and everything. Next time you go, you're watching all of them do haram, and you're in a place of haram. Because see, when you're in a place of haram, the la'na, the cursing will come all on you. Even if you're a good person, but you're among bad people, will come on you. So eventually, you'll be like, the shaitan will come into you. It's easy. This is how things happen, shaitan. So you'll be sitting there watching them, or eventually, one day, you'll try it. You'll try it. And it will happen, because the shaitan waits for a weak moment, a moment where you become weak. He takes the opportunity. So why put yourself in that position in the first place? Plus, you're not depriving yourself by not going. There's other ways that you can use your energy and have a laugh. Any more questions?
Do you have any suggestion? Because I stay in office, like a group of people have a Muslim but not practicing Muslim, and non-Muslim, like they even why we are fasting, but they got wrong idea from the non-practicing Muslim. They explain it for me, so how do they?
So basically, they've asked you to explain why you're fasting, but they've already spoke to your other non-practicing Muslim friends, and they've already got an idea. Well, I understand what you're saying. It does happen, because there are good and bad people every single way. You can't avoid. This is how life is. There are good and bad people. So it does happen. They give you, like, let's say they've already told them that you don't need to. To be honest, I've had the personal experience of that. Someone at work, when I was fasting, they were like, that last girl, she never used to do that and do that. I was like, okay, what you need to tell them is that everyone's different. It doesn't mean if that specific person did anything, that doesn't mean they represent Islam. That doesn't mean this is what we should all do. If that, for example, non-practicing Muslim used to fast in the morning and then eat in the afternoon, that doesn't mean it's the right thing. Just like in Christianity, there are people who go to church and there are people who don't go to church. In Christianity, it used to be you're not allowed to eat pork and alcohol. Now people do. So you can answer it from that point of view, is that there are people who follow and there are people who, just even at work, there are rebels, people who come in late, do whatever they like, and then go early. Or at school, sneaking in food and whatever, eating in class, and people who follow. So there's two types. You just need, doesn't mean she's not a practicing Muslim. That's it. That's the book we need to follow. You can't. Does that answer the question? Any more questions? Is that it? Any more questions? Thanks all for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. If you've got a question to ask but you don't want to, you can write it down, and we'll see if we can answer it afterwards. Any question or anything you want to raise, you might remember afterwards if you want to. Thanks a lot for listening. Thank you.